Hello and welcome to the How to Get Back into Ketosis After a Cheat Day workshop training. So for those of you that don't know me, if you just stumbled across my little area of the internet, let me introduce myself. My name is Lesha. I'm a nutritionist, and I've been following keto for over 5 years. And now I help busy women lose weight using a holistic ketogenic lifestyle in my online community, BSB Tribe. So I've lost personally over 110 pounds using a keto diet and making it into a lifestyle that fits in with the way that I want to live my life. And trust me when I say that I've had my fair share of cheat days. All right. Especially when I first started, I did a lot of cheating. So if you're in that phase where you find yourself falling off the wagon or cheating a lot on keto, it's okay. I promise you, you will get to the point where you won't be doing that as much. And if you are, I will talk about some ways after this training of how you can finally find your sweet spot, okay? So let's get into this. So you've cheated on keto. There are 6 steps that I'm going to walk you through today to help you get back into ketosis faster. These are the things that have worked for me. These are things that I've done over the years, step by step, that have allowed me to get back into fat burning mode within a few days, all right? It might take you a little longer depending on your body and if you do all of these steps or not. However, I will say normally my clients get back into ketosis within a few days, all right? So let's start with step 1. Step 1 is going to be something that is more of a mental thing that I want you to do, all right? And that is we're going to accept and move on. All right, accept and move on. So often you will find that if you've had a cheat day, especially if it was on a Friday, your mind and your brain will start saying things to you like, oh, it's Friday, it's the weekend, we've already cheated and fallen off the wagon. Let's just continue this and start our diet on Monday again, right? That is your reptilian brain. That is your primal brain feeding you those stories that are not correct. And we don't want to listen to that part of the brain. We want to focus in on our smart girl brain, the brain in the front, the prefrontal cortex, the smart brain that is going to tell us that no, we've cheated and that is okay, but let's move on, okay? So the first thing that I want you to do is accept the cheat. Don't beat yourself up about it. Don't say, I'm a failure, I can't do this diet, I always fail, I always mess up. Just be like, I made the choice to cheat, and that's okay. I'm going to go on and move on. So that is the very step that I want you to take when you've cheated on keto, okay? The second step is we're going to drink tons of water and take electrolytes. This is very important because you will find if you've been doing keto for a little bit, right after you cheat, the day after, you will feel like you drank all night long and you have an extreme hangover, and that is called carb hangover or carb withdrawal, because you've eliminated carbs and sugar from your diet, and now you introduce them, and you probably introduce them in large quantities, and your body is freaking out a bit right now. So it's going to give you the symptoms of a hangover. You're going to have a headache. You're going to be very dehydrated. You're probably going to have cravings for more carbs and sugar because that is how the cycle works. So it's very important that you make sure that you're drinking enough water to stay hydrated. And on top of that, make sure you're very paying attention a lot to your electrolytes. This is going to prevent you from getting the keto flu. This was a mistake that I made when I got started. I didn't pay attention to electrolytes, but what happened is every time I cheated, I would go through keto flu all over again for like 2 weeks, and it was miserable. I didn't even want to stick to the diet because of this reason. So make sure the day after you cheat, you're really up in the magnesium, the potassium, the sodium, adding salt to your water, taking supplements, or taking a drink that doesn't have any sugar in it, okay? So that is the step 2, second thing that you need to do right after you cheated to get back into ketosis. The third thing that you'll want to do that's worked really well for me is doing a fast. All right, so when it comes to fasting, I want to say you're not fasting after you cheated to punish yourself for eating the things you shouldn't eat. I hate to use the word shouldn't, right? It's a choice. Fasting, what fasting does, it helps your body focus on burning all the things that you ate, burning through that glucose from the carbs and the sugar that you had, instead of focusing on now the food that you're putting into it the day after a cheat, okay? So this is if you really want to jumpstart the process. Now, if you don't mind it taking a little longer, or if you can't fast because you're pregnant or some kind of medical reason, then you don't have to do this step, okay? All of these steps are just options. But if you want to get back into ketosis quicker, I do recommend a fast. Now, how long? That's really up to you. Ideally, if you can do a 24-hour fast, that's really going to help your body burn through that glucose faster. If you can't, even a 16-hour, 12-hour, any fast will help the process speed along faster, okay? Step 4, what you want to do to get back into ketosis fast after a cheat day is you want to do as close to 0 carb for a week as possible. So I say 0 carb or under 20 grams of total. So if you're like most people, you probably follow 20 grams of net just because somebody on the internet told you that's what you should do. If you haven't found your personal number and you're interested in that, that is something that I teach inside BSB Tribe. However, let's just focus here on getting back into ketosis. So 20 grams of total carbs for up to a week, or as 0 carb as possible. So this is close to like carnivore, or like really honing in, and make sure to do that you're gonna have to track, right? I'm not all about like tracking every single thing every single day for the rest of your life. I don't think that that is a diet lifestyle and very sustainable. However, if your goal is to get back into fat burning mode, to really get those ketones back, I will recommend that you track what you eat so you know exactly how many carbs you've consumed. You cannot know how many carbs you consume until you actually track your food and measure it. Okay, so 0 carb, this is like, looks like protein and mostly fat that you're going to be eating. Okay. So you want to do that for up to a week or until you finally reach ketosis, and then you can go back to your normal way of doing keto. All right. So step 5 is we want to avoid a few groups of food that make weight loss take longer and oftentimes stall weight loss. And I talk about these food groups a lot inside BSB Tribe, all the meal plans inside there. Follow these rules. So this is where you want to avoid dairy, sweeteners, and for this purpose, I'm also going to say nuts. All right, the really big focus here is avoiding dairy and sweeteners, but if you're really trying to hurry up and get back into ketosis, I would also avoid nuts, okay? And because the reason I say this is that dairy causes a lot of inflammation and will cause you to hold on to a lot of extra water weight, which if you're already dealing with a lot of water you've retained after having a cheat day, what's going to happen is you will find that after a cheat day, if you step on the scale, you'll notice there's probably going to be a big fluctuation. You might have gained 5 pounds. Some people even gained 10. I've gained 8 overnight before, and that is mainly because of the water. Carbs retain water. That's why people lose weight so quickly when they transition from a standard American diet to a ketogenic diet, because all that water just comes out, okay? So if you're still eating dairy while you're trying to get back into ketosis after a cheat day, you're not going to let that water flush out of your body. So you want to avoid dairy for that reason, okay? The same with sweeteners. Sweeteners also can cause you to have more cravings for sugar because you're tricking your brain to think that you're getting something sweet because sweeteners taste sweet, but then that dopamine response doesn't happen, that reward process doesn't finish out because sweeteners are 0 calorie, so you don't really get that sugar, and your brain gets confused and thinks that you gave it something sweet and says, well, we want more sweet now. So this is going to be very hard for you to do to get back into ketosis. You've cheated, you have sugar cravings, and now you're still eating sweeteners. You're even going to have even more sugar cravings, and it just leads to you giving up or continuing that cheat binge cycle, okay? So you want to avoid sweeteners. And then nuts, for the reason nuts is like, first of all, a lot of people are very sensitive to them. They cause bloat. A lot of people have allergens. Also, it's very easy to overeat nuts. Now, I don't say that you should be counting every single calorie. I don't believe in calories in, calories out, because every calorie of food has a different hormonal response on your body. However, you can easily sit there and eat hundreds and hundreds of calories of nuts, and if you're trying to get your body to digest all of that glucose and process that glucose, this is going to hold you back, okay? So for that reason, I say that you avoid dairy, sweeteners, and nuts until you get back into ketosis, until you get back to your weight that you were before you had your cheat day, okay? And then the last and final steps that I want you to do is to do some sort of workout, but it has to be very particular. The best workouts to get back into ketosis after a cheat day are going to be either HIIT training or strength training. You want to be careful with too much cardio, because if you're doing too much cardio when you're trying to just like run everything off, you're going to find yourself extremely hungry after. So that might not really work that well in the long run. Might be counterproductive. HIIT is high intensity interval training, where you go really hard for like 30 seconds to 60 seconds, and then you let your heart rate kind of drop, and then you go again. There's many workouts that you can look up. Strength training also helps you burn fat, because you're building muscle, and that muscle is burning fat for you, revs up your metabolism, and these are the workouts that we have inside BSB Tribe. So I recommend that you do this every single day until you get back into ketosis. Now, you should already be doing a fitness regimen if you want to get the best results for your health, for your fitness, for overall maintaining all the systems in your body. However, if you're really trying to get back into keto, I would recommend some kind of HIIT training, 30 minutes a day until you reach back into ketosis, okay? So let's recap the 6 steps that you need to do to get back into ketosis fast after a cheat day. The first step is to accept that you cheated and move on. Don't let it continue to a cheat weekend, then a cheat week, a cheat month, all of that. Stop, accept it, and move on. Step 2 is make sure that you're drinking a lot of water to stay hydrated, and take your electrolytes to avoid that carb hangover and to not get keto flu over again. Step 3 is you want to do some kind of fast, and this is just to give our body a chance to really burn off all the glucose that we just put in it, instead of now also worrying about the new food that it has to digest when we keep eating, all right? Then step 4 is to switch down to a 0 carb or 20 grams of total for up to a week, or until we reach ketosis again. Step 5 is avoiding dairy, sweeteners, and nuts because those are very inflammatory. Those cause weight loss stalls. And step 6 is to do some kind of workout that spikes up your heart rate, gets you burning your metabolism. So high intensity interval training or strength training, okay? So those are the 6 steps that you need to take. Like I said, if you do all of these, you'll probably get back into ketosis within 2 or 3 days. If you don't do all of them, it might take you up to a week. It all depends on you and your body, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this workshop. And I want to end off in saying that if you are always struggling and falling off the wagon and getting back on ketosis and then cheating on keto or having a treat meal or whatever it is that you want to call it, and you find yourself that this is a lifestyle that you are really having a hard time sticking to and maintaining, it might be because you haven't found the right approach for you and your busy lifestyle. All right. And if that sounds like you, I want to invite you to a free workshop training that guides you through the 5 phases of weight loss to help you discover what is the right plan for you. What is sustainable for you of where you're at, right? You might be a person that is too busy to prep and think about what to make and putting meal plans together. You might be a person that is dealing with hormone issues or autoimmune diseases, or you might be dealing with issues with your gut, and that is what's keeping you stuck, right? You might be someone that just doesn't know how to work out. What are the best workouts for me? How do I incorporate keto and working out? You might be stuck in all of these brain habits that you've developed, like binge eating, stress eating, self-sabotaging all the time, and emotional eating, falling off the wagon every weekend, and you haven't really focused on the brain side of things. So if that sounds like you, I invite you to take this course. It's a free course, and I will help you figure out what the best approach is, the keto approach for you and your body and in your life of where you're at right now that is sustainable so that you can finally lose the weight you want and not worry about gaining it back later, okay? So if that sounds interesting to you, then click the link below and sign up for that training, and I'll see you there. All right, take care.